Good evening and welcome to the news. I'm Madhavdas Gopalakrishna. Ladies and gentlemen, after back-to-back strikes on the Modi Sarkar from UK, Rahul Gandhi landed in India yesterday. And today, when he set foot inside the parliament, a battery of NDA ministers pounced on him for maligning Bharat on foreign soil. The only demand that echoed in Sansad was Rahul Gandhi Maafi Mango. The fireworks led to adjournment of the House yet again, and the Wayanad MP was quick to claim vindication, saying that his voice is stifled by the government. He's asserted that if the Indian democracy was functioning, he would have been able to say his piece in Parliament. Listen in to Rahul Gandhi's attack.
So if Indian democracy was functioning, I would be able to say my piece in Parliament. So actually what you are seeing is a test of Indian democracy. I went to Parliament this morning with the idea of putting what I have said or what I feel on the floor of the House. 4 ministers have raised allegations against me in Parliament House, and as a member of Parliament, it is my right to speak. But I'm hopeful that I will be allowed to speak tomorrow. And the whole idea is that these questions must not be on the table. And that is why this whole exercise of 4 or 5 ministers, the Prime Minister giving a speech to distract from this fundamental question, which is what is the relationship between the Prime Minister of India and Mr. Adani and his companies, and more importantly, whose money is in these shell companies.
But the Gandhi scientist refused to break his silence on his UK U-turn. In fact, did the outrage back home lead Rahul to do a course correction? Times now brings you the story of 51 hours that every other channel is ignored, while Rahul questioned the silence of the so-called crusaders of democracy, namely US and EU, for being in oblivion to the fact that a huge chunk of democratic model has been undone in India just 2 days after calling for foreign intervention pertaining to India's internal matter. On the 6th of March, he did a volte-face by saying that India's problem is an internal one and that the solution will come from within the country. Listen in.
People don't quite understand the scale of India and its democracy. So, how would you react if democracy suddenly disappeared in Europe? Right? You'd be shocked and you'd be like, oh my God, that's a massive blow to democracy. Well, how would you react if something, a structure 3.5 times Europe suddenly went non-democratic? Right? That's happened already. It's 3 or 4 times the size of the United States in terms of numbers. Same with regards to Europe. So the surprising thing is that the so-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States, European countries, seem to just be oblivious that a huge chunk of the democratic model has come undone, right? Which is the real problem. Well, it's our problem, right? It's an internal problem. It's an Indian problem, and the solution is going to come from inside. It's not going to come from outside. However, the scale of Indian democracy means that democracy in India is a global public good, right? It impacts way further than our boundaries. If Indian democracy collapses, in my view, democracy on the planet suffers a very serious, possibly fatal blow.
All right, and after the U-turn, the BJP now says that Rahul Gandhi has made it a habit to insult Bharat whenever country. Listen in.
Rahul Gandhi has made it into a habit to derail Indian democracy, criticize it, and demean it. आज उन्होंने प्रेस में ऐसी कोई बात नहीं की कि उन्हें खेद है जो उनके द्वारा कहा गया।
राहुल गांधी ने कहा कि यहाँ कॉलेजों में, यूनिवर्सिटी में जाकर के वो भाषण भी नहीं दे सकते हैं। उन्होंने यात्रा किया, हर दिन सुबह शाम बोलते रहा फिर विदेश में जाके बोलते हैं कि इंडिया में बोलने का आजादी नहीं है। इसके खिलाफ, संसद के खिलाफ जो उन्होंने बात बोला, उसके लिए माफी मांगना होगा।
अपरिपक्व नेता है, उनकी मानसिक आयु 5 साल से कम लगती थी, वो जिस ढंग की बातें करते हैं। लेकिन इस बार जिस ढंग से आलोचना देश के बाहर जाके उन्होंने, वो विदेश में जाके अपने देश की आलोचना कर रहे हैं, वो सच्चे भारतीय नहीं है। मुझे तो उनके भारतीय होने पर ही संदेह है।
For those who chimed in to back Rahul's anti-India raga are still in denial. Listen in to those who cheered when Rahul demanded foreign intervention.
So Anurag Thakur should be the last person to talk on poverty in public life. I think the big problem right now is that the BJP has not even cared to listen to Rahul Gandhi's lecture. Actually insisted that Indian democracy is a public good. What part of that is disrespecting or defaming the country? Let me in fact tell you a counter argument. Mr. Modi, whether it was in Shanghai or Seoul or Abu Dhabi or Oman or Toronto or the US or UK, the kind of stuff that he has said against India, he has actually on Chinese soil said, लोग सोचते थे कि हमने क्या पाप किया, हम हिंदुस्तान में पैदा हुए. Mr. Modi should apologize.
He has every right to comment on what is going on in India. Indian system, the entire world, they all feel that all sections are not safe in India. That is what he is trying to tell, and I fully stand by his statement.
राहुल गांधी जी ने ये बात कैम्ब्रिज में कही है और मैं उनसे सहमत हूँ, और इस देश के सभी लोकतंत्र के रखवाले, लोकतंत्र के चौकीदार, उनके जो भूमिका है उनसे सहमत है हम। इस देश का लोकतंत्र खतरे से भी ऊपर गया है, लगता है उनका मुर्दा पड़ गया है।
And this brings me to my legitimate question. Rahul's U-turn, has it nailed his jhoot?
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us now for more on this, Sanju Verma, spokesperson of the BJP. Ishkaran Singh Bhandari is an advocate joining us. Tushar Gupta, senior editor of Swarajya magazine, also joins us. Sanjay Jha, author, is with us. Dr. Suman C. Raman, political analyst, also joins us, as does Ravi Srivastava, political analyst. Let me start with Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, two separate comments. They're all in public domain. They're all on record. First one on the 4th of May. The second one, 4th of March, I beg your pardon. The second one on the 6th of March. What happened within those 51 hours that Mr. Rahul Gandhi retracted his position and changed his position? And if he indeed did change his position at two separate events within the span of 51 hours, then what's wrong in coming out and admitting that something wrong perhaps was said, and that he takes back those comments as far as the intervention of US and EU is concerned? Because he did specifically mention that when democracy, or the death of democracy was happening in India, these are two democracies which are being oblivious to what's happening here in India. Sanjay Jha.
Madhav, good evening. Firstly, Rahul Gandhi never contradicted himself at all. He is actually been extraordinarily consistent. Not just him, but the entire opposition has been talking about the fragile democracy under Mr. Modi's government. We all know that 95% of the cases of the ED and the CBI has been against opposition leaders since 2014. You don't need any further manifestation of the kind of political vendetta being done currently in India through destruction of India's independent democratic institutions. Point number 2, and this is very, very critical. When I see these ads, when I'm driving down Marine Drive in Mumbai, saying at the G20 summit, India is a mother of democracy, it's a mockery of this great country. It's not the mother of democracy, it is the murder of democracy. That's what's happening in India today. The truth is that so far we used to hear about an economic recession. What you're hearing is a democratic recession today in India. The fundamental point that Rahul Gandhi said today, which will hurt the BJP, probably hurt Mr. Modi the most, because he's the one who needs to answer, is what is this great story about Mr. Adani that has got the BJP to become like the legal
I just want you to hold on to your thoughts for just 30 seconds, sir, and just answer a simple question. For the sake of argument, even if I accept that everything that you have said is absolutely true and accurate, how in the world does that justify asking the US and EU to intervene? saying that they're oblivious to what's happening in India is a very clear call for action on part of US and EU, isn't it, sir?
Madhav, I'm glad you're asking me this question. I will take 30 seconds and answer you. You know why this has become a big issue? It's because of only one reason, not because of what Rahul Gandhi said at all. When the BBC had an income tax raid in India, and you are aware of that, you are in Delhi, there was discussion all over the world, and I read all the newspapers, as I'm sure you do, and whether it was the New York Times or the BBC or the Economist or any newspaper in the world, you know, they questioned their own governments, by the way, that why is Rishi Sunak quiet as a British Prime Minister when there's an income tax raid in India on a BBC, which is considered to be the big global brand. And similarly, America talks about shared values and democratic traditions, but they were quiet when here was a news channel being raided. And at that point, everyone asked this question, why is America and Europe and Britain quiet? Rahul Gandhi was speaking in that context. And by the way, the BJP needs to apologize, because Rahul Gandhi has never said on record that, you know, some foreign power has to intervene in India's domestic issue. That's a joke.
Sir, by saying why is US and EU oblivious, I think the question is very clear. It was at least in the context of, and he even implied that it's because of trade ties that's not happening. Incidentally, if you read the full quote, that's what he specifically said. Anyway, I don't want to get into a debate. Specifically, I'm going to allow Sanju to come in now and respond to you. Sanju Verma, please respond to Sanjay Jha.
Thank you, Madhav. Madhav, I stay a stone's throw away from Marine Drive in Mumbai. I stay at Breach Candy. And each time I pass Marine Drive, which is just about every other day, I have a sense of immense pride as a Mumbaiker, but more so as an Indian, when I see those huge G20 hoardings. And I feel very proud that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is leading right from the front. Now let me come to the moot point. Rahul Gandhi is a repeat and a habitual offender. His exact wordings at the UK Parliament and in various other forums when he was in London. The one thing that struck me was, apart from claiming that democracy khatre mein hai, democracy is crushed, you look at how he worded his entire thing. He said, why are the US and the European Union so oblivious to the fact that a large chunk of democracy has come undone in India? If that is not imploring, pleading and suggesting foreign intervention, then I think the entire Congress top brass needs to do a quick Renan Martin course in English to understand plain and simple English. And I'll tell you why I called him a repeat offender without being too verbose. In UK in May 2022, what did Rahul Gandhi say? He said, the deep state in India, the CBI, the ED are now chewing the Indian state and eating it, much like in Pakistan. Excuse me, Rahul Gandhi, I never knew that there was a deep state in India. I thought the deep state was only typical to the terror state, our hostile neighbor called Pakistan. And what else did he say in UK in May 2022? He said, and this was at an Ideas for India conference in London. I'm not throwing stuff off my hat. He said, a soul without a voice means nothing. And what has happened in India under Prime Minister Modi is that India's voice and democracy have been crushed. Just give me 10 seconds, Mother, and I'll just read one more, quote of his, what he said in Germany in 2018. He said that had I been the Prime Minister, I would have thrown demonetization bill in the dustbin. But the problem is that there is so much anger in India, and Narendra Modi is utilizing that anger to damage the country, and that is why I call him unpatriotic. This is what Rahul Gandhi spoke in Germany in 2018, calling the Prime Minister of the country unpatriotic, and Sanjay
There have been a number of comments also been made. There have been a number of comments which have been cited. They have raised questions of the Prime Minister. But I want to get into the specifics of this debate, because the point being made here, the defense being taken here, Ishkaran Bhandari, is that those comments were made in context of the raids of on the BBC, and there were demands made specifically on the silence of leaders of those countries, particularly the UK PM. That's what Sanjay Jha just said. You heard him. Would you like to respond to that specific point?
Yes. First, let us be very clear on the fundamentals. Democracy in India is not under threat. The dynasty in India is under threat of electoral insignificance. That is the baseline. And anybody who understands India is not Indra, Indra is not India, will understand that basic concept. So I hope Mr. Jha understands that. Now, when you talk about speaking on foreign soil, forget India. I am quoting you from Homeland Security, what they say. Malign action, malignant actions by foreign governments to A. Sow discord, manipulate public discourse, discredit the electoral system, bias the development of policy for the purposes of undermining the interests of United States of America. So what does BBC do? What does New York Times do? Which US, if it happened in itself, would define it as a threat to its homeland security. That we should be very clear about. Now let's come to what Mr. Rahul Gandhi is trying to do. Is this in isolation, or is this to be seen with what Mr. Manishankar Iyer says when he goes to Pakistan, "Inhe hatao, hame leke aao." That mindset where you go complaining is something to be seen by the people. And one last point I would want to make. Madhav, when you are in a formal place, when you are in an important, prestigious place, you dress up very formally. You have come to do the debate, you are dressed up formally in Indian or Western wear. But see Rahul Gandhi, when he comes to Parliament, how he dresses up as if he is going to a park for a stroll. But when he goes to the country of Her Majesty or His Majesty, see how he dresses up as if it's an Italian photo shoot. That, if you don't understand the fundamental difference in thinking and what you take seriously, that is the reason why Amethi,
Siraman,
own pocket borough, rejected him.
Okay, I'm going to allow that. Suman Siraman, is the attire to be taken lightly? Doesn't it display an attitude is a question Ishkaran is asking. Please respond to it.
No. Yeah, Madhav, he's not wearing a monogrammed suit with his name on it, but let's not get into that. Now, my point, Madhav, is
it's a simple question.
A little child
Oh my God.
he knows that the purpose... One second, sir. One second.
Okay, let him make his point. You've asked a question now. In all fairness, let him make his point. Listen to the response.
Yeah. Madhav, the point is very simple. Even a little child knows clearly that the purpose of this tamasha which is going on in Parliament is purely to divert the attention from the Adani issue, so that the demand for the JPC which the opposition is making need not feature in a discussion. Now, how better can you prove that Rahul Gandhi is right than by denying him an opportunity to speak in the Parliament? After all, he is a member of Parliament. These charges have been made against him, including on the floor of the House, by ministers of the government, and he will not be given an opportunity to defend himself? Amazing. I mean, that itself is more than enough proof that what he is saying is right.
Okay.
Now, what better way? I mean,
but
the
what
only
about
other way I can think of is to slap sedition charges.
What about the U-turn in 51 hours, sir? What about the U-turn in 51 hours?
Erosion of democracy.
Was there no U-turn in 51 hours according to you?
No.
Is there not change in position?
No, there was no U-turn.
When he first says US and EU should intervene, and then he comes out publicly to say this is an internal issue of India, isn't that a U-turn? There are two very, very diametrically opposite positions that have been taken by Mr. Gandhi.
He did not say, I would like the UK and the US and the EU to intervene. He did not say.
He said they're being oblivious.
Of course he said that. In which world are you living, Suman Siraman?
He said they're being oblivious.
Oblivious.
To what?
I'm sorry, 1 minute. Can I finish? Why? Okay, this lady is going to heckle. We can't speak.
No,
1 minute.
I'm not heckling you. And this lady has a name.
He made was he used
this lady has a name. So stop being disrespectful.
He used the term. Please.
Okay, let him make his point. Okay, let him make his point.
I'm done in India.
Okay, Sanju Verma, let him make his point. Yeah.
I appeal to the EU to intervene. Please show me the clip where he says, I appeal to the European Union, the UK and the US to intervene on this issue and restore democracy in India.
Okay. All three hands going up, please. Please, one by one, I'm going to request you all one by one. I'm going to allow Tushar in because he's not entered this debate. Sanju, I'm going to come to you. Tushar, I want Tushar to come in now. Tushar, you asked a question, Suman Siraman. Now listen to the response. Tushar Gupta, please, you've asked a question. Now listen to the response. Yes.
I haven't finished my sentence.
Sir, you asked a question. Show me the response. Now let him respond to you.
Pretending as if he lives under a rock.
I am not. Show me where he lives.
Sir, you are asking a question. Now please listen to the response. Ishkaran asked you a question. I allowed you your full time to respond to that point and other points you made. Now we can't have monologues here. This is a dialogue. This is a debate. Please listen to Tushar on the point that you raised now. Tushar.
Madhav, this is for Suman C. Raman and all the audience of Times Now. Rahul Gandhi's interaction at IJA was 51 minutes. But the crux is in the 29th and in the 30th minute, where he says that democracy in India is undone. Where is the reaction from EU or from America, the defenders of democracy? Now, the first question the BJP should be asking Rahul Gandhi is, what does he define as a reaction? Does he want media criticism? Does he want criticism from the leaders there? Does he want criticism or lobbying by private companies there? Does he want sanctions? Does he want a trade war? What does he mean when he says a reaction? And Suman C. Raman, that clip is in the 29th minute of the 51-minute clip. Madhav, he goes on and says in the next minute, in the 30th minute, that I understand there is trade and money involved. I understand there is no reaction.
If you had
Suman, you had a problem with others intervening when you are speaking. Now, please, let's have the same yardstick. Let Tushar make his point. You can respond. But please be calm for a little while. Let him at least give him 30 seconds to make his point at least. Tushar.
Madhav, the final bombshell came in the 31st minute, to be exact 3005th second for the audience. He says that this is not an Indian battle alone. He emphasizes on Indian battle alone. Now, my question to Rahul Gandhi would be, when you say it's not an Indian battle alone, who else do you want to fight your battle? Is it the Americans? Is it the Europeans? Is it the Western lobbies? You know, Madhav, what has happened really in Cambridge and all the other interactions of Rahul Gandhi in London? He's actually calling out the West for help, because of his inability to win any elections in India, and perhaps because he doesn't understand why Narendra Modi wins every election. Again, Suman C. Raman, you said where is the clip? 51 minutes worth of video, 29th and 30th minute. Go check for yourself.
Come.
Okay.
Come. Let me.
Okay, respond, Suman. You wanted a time code. You have the time. You have the exact time code that Tushar has quoted here as well.
Yes, Madhav. I don't think the gentleman has seen the entire clip, because Rahul Gandhi was crystal clear in his explanation. He said half the country, half the world that lives under a democratic government lives in India, half the global population. And an erosion of democracy in India is not just a problem for India, because it should be a problem for the entire world, because half of the population under democracy lives in India. What could be more clear an explanation than that? That is all. I mean, that explanation is crystal clear. He says that since so many billions of people, 1.4 billion people are living. Sir, that does not mean asking UK and US to impose sanctions on India. I don't know where you are getting such ideas from.
What does he define as a reaction? When Rahul Gandhi says there is no reaction, define reaction for us.
At the erosion of democracy, because this is not happening in a tiny country with a population of 5 million people. It is happening in the biggest democracy in the world.
What constitutes a reaction?
Logically, it should be concern. It should be of concern.
Give it all the spin you want.
Sir,
tell us what constitutes a reaction as per Rahul Gandhi.
We are living in a connected world. Whether you like it or not, don't repeat the line that Rahul Gandhi asked for intervention. He asked them to be concerned about it. He asked them to be concerned about it, not to intervene. There is a difference between the two.
Okay, how does Rahul Gandhi expect them to be concerned?
They have to be worried about it. Being worried about it is a reaction. Noting that this is happening is a reaction.
Worried how?
And we have seen it. The Economic Intelligence Unit has put India way down in the freedom index.
Okay. All right. Let me come in now. Gentlemen, let me come in now. In fact, we've gone through this debate. Let me bring in some other panelists who've not yet spoken. Ravi Srivastava is also joining us. Ravi Srivastava, simple question, sir. Simple question. If Mr. Rahul Gandhi has now, his position is out there, these videos are out there, you know, if Mr. Rahul Gandhi has made certain comments, he in fact made a mistake during the course of the press conference also, and he was corrected by Mr. Jairam Ramesh. I don't want to sidetrack the debate, but the point is, when one makes a mistake, there's nothing wrong in coming out and apologizing. That's what Piyush Goyal has said. He says one becomes a bigger person if one comes out and apologizes. And the allegation of the leader of the House in the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Piyush Goyal, is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi, by not apologizing, is showing himself and his own party in poor light. That is the allegation of Mr. Piyush Goyal, and that's pretty much been the allegation of the BJP. How do you respond to that, Ravi Srivastava?
Thank you, Madhav. First of all, taking me in after 25 minutes of the debate. We've been listening everybody very patiently. My issue here is that Rahul Gandhi has not said anything new. Whatever he has said in UK, Chatham House or in Cambridge, he has repeatedly said on the Indian ground as well. He has been talking on it in the entire Bharat Jodo Yatra. There is nothing new in it. And what you want to stop him, now stop him is this, the raw nerve. The raw nerve is Adani. If you allow him to speak, Mr. Modi will get baffled completely, and that's the reason you are not allowing him to speak in the...
He has nothing. His apology is bogie. 12 crore worth of rupees of public money has been lost.
I want to come here.
And 4 ministers were standing on the floor of the House, not allowing the Parliament to function. Whose responsibility is this? The opposition stopped the Parliament, not the ruling party. And these people, all you, Piyush Goyal, Smriti Irani.
Okay. I want...
Apology for what?
Madhav,
okay.
Here he went wrong, you apologize for this. He has not done anything wrong. Whatever he has said...
May I come in here?
No, but one second. Ravi Srivastava, one thing I want you to answer. One thing, Ravi Srivastava, I want you to answer. That, it's fine. Within the country, there may be differences, there may be name calling, all sorts of things happen. And we all know when, post-emergency, when Indira Gandhi was asked about her experiences in an Indian jail, what she said in Europe, she was asked that question. She said, I don't want to discuss domestic politics while I'm on foreign soil. There has been that Lakshman Rekha, which unfortunately Mr. Rahul Gandhi appears to have crossed. That's the point that is being made by the BJP. And they are also alleging that falsehoods have been repeated by Mr. Rahul Gandhi because he spoke on the Adani issue in the last session of Parliament.
Are you aware of the George Fernandez, who was asking the material help, the physical help from the CIA? You recall that? And whatever Prime Minister has done...
Democracy was suspended.
Hold on. You've spoken a lot already.
I don't know what kind of a debate is this.
What a Prime Minister talking on the Shanghai...
Madhav, you've given a free run to him.
UAE or Canada or UK, everywhere. What he was saying.
Okay.
Can I please come in now?
What reputation he has...
This can't be a monologue by this man.
What is he?
Sanju Verma, please allow me to conduct this debate. Everyone needs to participate. It's a democratic debate here. We will allow everybody their chance to speak. Now, please respond to the specific point that is being made by several of the panelists that the government doesn't want this debate to happen on Adani, and that's why Mr. Rahul Gandhi is not being asked to speak and the protests are happening in the House. Please respond to the charge being made by several panelists.
I'm responding, and I don't know, Madhav, why you're chiding me. I just said that, Ravi Srivastava is engaging in a monologue and I need to rebut him, which is my right as a panelist on your debate.
Yes, so everyone has their say. Everyone has their say. He has also had his say. Now, please respond to the point.
Yeah, I have my right like every other panelist. Don't take digs at me. Let me come.
No, because you are intervening, ma'am. Let others also have their say, please. Everyone has their say. Specific question. Let's not sidetrack the debate. Specific question on Adani has been made by several panelists. Please respond to that.
I'm responding now. Please, can you ask him not to heckle because you're very quick to take digs at me. Can you ask Ravi Srivastava not to heckle me? Thank you.
You don't behave improperly.
Mr. Srivastava, you have made your point. Now let others speak. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Madhav. Now let me come straight to the point and take the bull by its horns. I think Tushar Gupta made some very interesting points and so did Ishkaran. I won't repeat those points. But on the Adani issue, I want to say one thing, Madhav. I've said this ad nauseum, I'm repeating it on your show. Adani has 7 publicly listed companies. 5 out of those 7 publicly listed companies were given their license to operate or came into existence during successive Congress dispensations. Adani started a commodity trading business in 1988 when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister. Adani Enterprises, which is the flagship unit, came about in 1993 when P.V. Narasimha Rao of the Congress was the Prime Minister. And I want to ask one thing. On the one hand, Rahul Gandhi has the audacity to demand a JPC. Why does Rahul Gandhi not walk the talk by asking Ashok Gehlot, his Congressy Chief Minister in Rajasthan, to cancel the 60,000 power contract signed between the Gehlot government and Adani Enterprises? Why does Rahul Gandhi not ask his Congress Chief Minister in Chhattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel, to cancel the contract given to Adani to blanketly mine coal from the Chhattisgarh forest? And 10 seconds, Madhav.
Sanjay Jha.
Give me
In
5
10
seconds.
seconds. In 2004, the Adani stock price was 24 rupees. In 2014, it was 793 rupees.
Okay.
That is a 3,200% jump. Whereas in December 2022, before the crash, Adani stock price was 4187.
Okay.
Under the BJP, the Adani stock price went up by 428%. Under the Congress, it went up by 3,200%.
Okay, Congress also has a lot to answer for, Sanjay Jha, when it comes to the case of Mr. Adani. And in fact, those are the points being made, not only the links with various state governments and the projects over there, but also the patronage during the UPA years. Quick response from you.
Madhav, 85% of Mr. Adani's wealth when he became the second richest man in the world came in the last 3 years under the dispensation of the BJP, and we all know why that happened. It's an ultimate case study in crony capitalism that the world is talking about. The markets have responded. Number two, the ultimate evidence of foreign intervention is Mr. Modi campaigning for Donald Trump and saying, "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar." I mean, that was the worst diplomatic embarrassment the world has ever seen. America is having a presidential election and the Indian Prime Minister is campaigning for the Republican candidate. It was the
He did not campaign.
Faux pas of the world.
He just made a statement and you have blown it out of proportion.
Today the
You have
world
zero
is calling
sense
us
of
an
proportion.
illiberal democracy.
Sanjay
The
Jha,
world
you
is
have
calling
zero
us
sense
an
of
illiberal
proportion.
democracy. The world is calling us out on our press freedom index. You know the state of RTI.
The
You know how
UK
the
MP
opposition
has
been
praised
harassed.
Prime Minister
You know
Modi.
the state of the
Rishi
ED and the
Sunak has
CBI.
praised Prime
Today
Minister
the only
Modi.
institution
Karan
that
Dilli
is
Moria,
saving
the UK
India
Member of
is the
Parliament, has
Supreme Court of
praised
India.
Prime Minister
That's
Modi.
it.
United Nations Secretary General
please, madam,
Antonio
don't
Guterres
interrupt people.
said
आप
Modi's
जरा ये
vaccination
बताइए
drive
कि अदानी
is one
को
of the
लेके
best and
आजकल
the
तेरे
safest
मेरे प्यार
globally.
के चढ़ते हर जबान पर
भाई
सबको
साहब,
मालूम है और सबको खबर
we are not
होगी
interested
is
in what
linking Mr.
Jairam
Adani
Ramesh
and
is
Mr.
saying.
Modi. Please answer.
Ray Dalio, the biggest US investor after Warren Buffett, has
I
said
refuse
Modi
to
has
get into a
transformed
slugfest
India
over the
for the
lady here.
better.
Okay.
What has Bob Sternfeld, the head of McKinsey, said? He said the next 100 years belong
अरे
to
मैडम
India.
आजकल
This is the
अदानी
head
जी और
of
मोदी जी को
McKinsey.
लेके
I will believe
आजकल
the head
तेरे
of
मेरे प्यार के
McKinsey
चढ़ते हर जबान पर वही गाना लोग
All right.
Ramesh, the communication head of Pappu and Pinky's party.
Okay, let me bring in Subansi Raman on that. Subansi Raman, important point being made, and in fact you also alluded to it. As far as the entire Adani issue is concerned, there is a lot that that previous regimes also, including that of the Congress, have to respond on. There are specifics, as far as projects in Rajasthan, projects in Chhattisgarh, and also as far as the growth of Mr. Adani during previous regimes are concerned. That's the response coming in from the BJP.
Madhav, the question is, you want to investigate all of them? Please go ahead. The point is here, this is about specific charges in the Hindenburg report. These are not random accusations which are being made. Now, Rahul Gandhi has raised one simple question of the shell companies and whose money is it which has come in from the Mauritius route, which the Hindenburg report alleges is equivalent to round tripping. Now, the point is very simple. Specific charges have been made in the Hindenburg report. Now, if you want to say Adani's got undue concessions from the previous Congress governments, please order a probe into all of them, no problem.
Okay.
But please find out whether the charges which have been quoted in the Hindenburg report are true or false.
Okay,
And
I want
that
Ishkaran to
is
come in on
not
that.
rocket science.
Ishkaran, why not a probe into all the aspects? All the charges should be probed. That's what Subansi Raman says. Why should there not be a probe into this entire matter?
One small point.
You've asked a question. Now, yes,
point.
let Ishkaran come.
Yes, let me just answer with it. Very small point. If you believe Adani is bad for India and India should be probing him, then why are your state governments in action and in business with him? You have to have some amount of uniformity. He cannot be good for Rajasthan and bad for India. If he is so bad, you stay away from him. It's a very simple principle. The second aspect which we have to understand is equally important.
Oh,
one second. Arey Baba, but you are doing business with him. You are empowering him. You are giving him 60,000 crores worth of projects. But second aspect, which is more important, because I am tired of hearing about this Hindenburg report. I have no skin in the game. If Adani has to be investigated, let him. But the important one second. So if the company is a fraudulent company as per you, you do not do projects with a fraudulent company. But the point is something else, and stop interrupting now. Madhav, we are tired of hearing...
1 second, Suman, let him make his point. We are almost out of time. Yes.
This is not the way we can debate. This is not the...
1 second, Suman. You have made your point. You spoke. Now let others speak also. Make your point, Ishkaran.
Yes. So it's very interesting. When it comes to Rajasthan, Adani has to be defended, even at the cost of interruption. But that be it. Let us be very clear. We are making a hoopla about the Hindenburg report. In US, Silicon Valley Bank, $200 billion collapses. A bank in New York collapses. A bank in Silvergate Bank collapses. And Forbes was calling it the best bank 5 years running. This is the sanctity of short sellers.
Okay.
Whether Adani is good or bad, that's to be investigated and that's to be seen. But
all right, completely out of time, Ishkaran. Sorry, I'm interrupting you there. Completely out of time. I'd like to thank you as well as Tushar Gupta, Sanjay Jha, Suman Raman and Ravi Srivastava for joining us. All eyes on what will happen in Parliament tomorrow. Will Rahul Gandhi get a chance to speak? Will he not get a chance to speak? Will he apologize? Will he not apologize? We don't know at the moment, but certainly all eyes on what will happen on the floor of the House tomorrow.